Hello, YouTube family. Well, it's been about 2 months since we last posted. And yes, I know we said we would be more frequent. But if you remember, I also said our house had become the drama house. And that's where we land today. You see, disaster struck quickly before we ever really got moved in. The day we signed on the house, we immediately went over and started tearing out carpet. The house was older, it smelled horrible, and the older man who had lived in the house wasn't able to care for it because of his health. So in short, the house was an absolute mess. However, we got it for $14,000 under bank assessment and thought we were doing well in the current market. So we got the carpets tore out and started sealing the underlayment in preparation for new carpet, wood flooring, and the demo of the 2 non-load bearing walls that we were going to make into a great room. Well, that Friday and Saturday, we had friends help us move our house into the new house. Most everything went into the garage with just the mattresses and washing machine and dryer going inside the house. You see, it was our plan to live in the camper while we were doing the remodel and then get into the bedroom side of the house quickly while then working on the kitchen, the great room, and the new laundry room and doing all of that stuff. Well, on Saturday evening, we went and hooked up the washer and dryer and expected to do laundry on Monday. We went back to our original house to sleep because our bed was still over there, thinking that we would remain in the old house at least through Sunday and then go to church, and then after church celebrate our oldest son's birthday at his in-laws because we had no house or real kitchen at the time. So as we finished lunch, cake, and opened presents, we invited our son and his wife over to see the house. It was only about 5 minutes away. Well, as we arrived and we opened the garage door, I still remember it. It sounded like a waterfall. My heart panicked. I ran into the kitchen entrance door and threw it open to see water absolutely everywhere. And even though I shut off the water as quickly as I could, we figured the water had been running for at least 12 to 14 hours. It had reached every floor in the house except the furthest room away and put about a half a foot of water into the crawl space. Our hearts sank. We wanted to remodel, but not like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through some still shots of the water damage back on September 27th. We're going to kind of narrate our way through this. And then I want you to hang on to the end of those still shots because we're going to tell you where we're going to go from here in the next videos to follow, and then hopefully catch us back up to where we're at now in the process of remodeling, and then catch you up with now planning for our garden this year and beginning to work on the backyard and all the excitement that goes into being into a new house. So right now, let's go ahead and let's jump into our still shots. As you can see by this picture, the failure was not in user error in hooking up our washer and dryer, but rather it was a seam that failed in the brass Y fitting. Our son, I mentioned in the intro, was our oldest son. Actually, it was our middle son, was just a trooper. Here it was his birthday, and as soon as we came in and we saw the problems that were going on, he ended up grabbing the wet dry vac and just jumping in and helping us get things accomplished. Here are some shots of the crawl space underneath the house. The water obviously has ruined the insulation in the flooring, and as it hit the crawl space, it ran from the high spots into the low spots where we had at times a half a foot to nearly 3/4 of a foot of water in areas. Here is a shot also of our mattresses. Now, here's the irony in all of this. We put our mattresses inside the house with our washer and dryer because we wanted to keep them safe. We put everything else out in the garage. We didn't want them to end up getting spiders or make them a temptation for rodents. We wanted to keep them safe from the elements. And here what happens is they got ruined because they got exposed to the water. This is probably one of the best shots of what the water damage looked like. Here's a picture from the main entryway hallway looking down the hallway going back to the bedrooms and the main bath. You see how the water has not only pooled, but kind of this early 1970s MDF that was laid on the floor. This is 1/2 inch. It just got soaked and warped just incredibly. And so we called our insurance
company, and they brought in a third-party water reclamation service. Now, let me just say that our insurance company did an awesome job. They just were wonderful working with us through this entire process. However, the third-party service that they brought in to do the water reclamation service was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. They really didn't know what they were doing. They were trying to add on extras that went beyond what our insurance would cover and say, well, this is wrong and that is wrong. Plus, most of the people that they brought out here had no experience in doing any water reclamation. And so we'll talk about that possibly later and in later videos. But again, you can see the damage here as we flip through these still pictures of where the water went all the way back to the back end of the house. The washer and dryer area, the original one, was at the other end, the far end of the house. And so water had just run through the entire area. They also told us, swinging back around to our water reclamation service that the insurance company brought in, had told us that they weren't going to be pulling up the tile because the tile flooring or the flooring underneath the tile wouldn't have gotten hit by the water or ruined by the water. Well, that just didn't make any sense to us because water damage was past these areas. How would water have not gotten underneath the tile? And so we finally said, you know what, we're done. We told the insurance company, just get rid of them. We'll finish the job ourselves, cash us out, and we'll do the rest of the work. Well, sure enough, we pulled up the tile, and by these pictures, it is obvious that there was water damage underneath the tile. As a matter of fact, in this shot, you can see the green mold that was starting to grow underneath the tile. And so if that had been left there, we would have had an absolute mess. And so we ended up taking all of that up. Here's a shot of Lynn sweeping up the portion of the tile and underlayment in the main entryway that I had gotten done pulling up with a crowbar and cutting out. This was just a miserable job. We ended up pulling up the rest of the flooring through the house. The company had done a little bit more than half, and we ended up putting down all of the half-inch new underlayment ourselves. And so again, this is just what God had given us and what we faced. And so we'll wrap things up here with our exit out of this video.
Well, I do want to let you know insurance covered the damage. Matter of fact, we ended up cashing out, as I had mentioned earlier, and taking those monies and hiring our own contractors to do some of the most labor-intensive and difficult things. Again, time was of the essence. We'd like to do a lot ourselves, but we just didn't have that opportunity. So in the videos to follow, what we're going to do is we're going to show you the transition, what the house looked like, what the exterior looked like, what the rooms look like, and show you the transformation into what they look like now. Not everything's exactly the way that we want it to be, but it's getting pretty close. As a matter of fact, here it is, the first part of February, and the very last major remodel that we have to accomplish is of the main bathroom. And then we got a lot of little knick-knacky things. So we would encourage you, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and that way you'll get an update of when we post a new video, and you can keep track of this transition into our new home. Again, thank you for being a part of our online social media family. You guys have a blessed day.